In this session, we'll thoroughly understand the usage of some very common symbols. Let's start with a single slash and double slash. The single slash represents the root element or the next immediate child, whereas the double slash represents an element which can be found anywhere in the document. So let's try to understand it better with the help of our test web page. All right, so let's click somewhere on the app and select inspect. Now it's showing the DOM, and here we need to understand the hierarchy of the elements first. Okay, in the very beginning it's HTML tag, right? And now see, I have collapsed all these tags. Okay, there are many elements, and the child elements, I have collapsed all of it by clicking this arrow. Okay, now you can see that at the top level there is an HTML element, and under the HTML element you have head and body. Okay, so that means HTML is the parent and head and body are the children of HTML element. Okay, because they come under HTML, because the HTML tag is opening here and we have a closing HTML tag here, okay, at the end. So whatever you have between the whatever you have between the opening and closing tag, all those are the children of these HTML tags. Okay, now let's take a look into body. Okay, I'm going to expand body, and here you can see that there are 4 children. Okay, there are 4 div elements here, right? So these are children and the body is the parent. All right, so likewise for this div you have 2 children, h1 and h2. All right, now let us understand slash, forward slash. All right, so I'm gonna click Command F, and if it's Windows you have to press Control F, right? And now if I type a forward slash, that means the root element. Okay, starting from the root. So obviously the next element is going to be HTML. Okay, that's the first element from the root, right? And then if you again enter a slash, that means the next child. So we have 2 possibilities here, either head or body. So let's type body here, and it's selecting the body element, right? So that's the purpose of single slash, right? So it represents either the root element or its immediate child. Now let's check with double slash. So in the relative XPath, we always start with a double slash. Let's search for an element, maybe div. So what does this mean? So this will look for a div element anywhere in this document. All right, and it has found 11 of such elements. And now we can try with a single slash after this. Okay, that means a div element with a child. So let's look for maybe a link a anger. Okay, so what does this mean? So that means XPath will look for a div element with a child element a. Okay, so how many such combinations are found? So here it's showing 1 of 2. That means 2 such combinations are found in this document. Okay, there is a div element with a child element a. All right, and let's look for those found out here. Okay, so there is 1 item found out here which is highlighted, and I'm going to click the down arrow and it's showing the second item found out. Okay, so there are 2 such combinations found. The next expression we are going to learn is a dot. So that selects the current node. That means we can explicitly specify the current node using a dot. How do we do that? Let's learn it with an example. Take a look at a project application Luma, and suppose we have to enter some values into this search box. All right, so how do we do that? We have to locate this element first, right? So let us inspect and find it out. I'm going to right click and select inspect from the menu, and then you have the HTML tags highlighted on the right side. So this is an input tag, right? So this input represents the text box, and luckily we have many attributes available here in order to find this text box uniquely. So we can use ID or name, right? Suppose we do not have any of these. If that is the situation, how do we find this input tag uniquely? Then the next option would be to find its parent. Okay, So in that case, we can hover over and find out some of this parent, right? So there is a parent here, there is a div element, right? And for this div element, yeah, we have an attribute here available class, and there are two class values here, field and search. Okay, so you will be able to use the locator class name, right? And you can use some of these class names. So here in this case, there is a space in between the words field and search. So what does it mean is there are two classes. So one first class is field and second class is search. So you can use either of these class names. So let's use the class name search, and let's find out this element, div element first. And then using this div element, we can narrow down the search within its children and grandchildren. Okay, so we won't be searching anything outside of this element, but just inside the hierarchy of the div element we can narrow down the search. And within this element, we have to find the input, because only one input is available within this div element, right? So we can do like that. So let's go back to our code and let's see how we can do it. Here's our project code, and we're going to type a method, a test method, to learn how to use dot expression in XPath. Okay, so let's create a dummy test method. And let's create a method named maybe XPath test. All right, here now let's find the web element first. I'm going to name the web element as div search, and then let's find it with the driver dot find element, and then we can say by dot class name, and let's specify the class name search, right? Let us confirm that it is, what is it actually, it's search. Yeah, let's type search. So we get the web element, and then within this web element now we have to search for an input, right? All right, so instead of searching with the driver, what we can do is we can search with this web element. So this web element also has find element method. So let's create a variable for that. Web element text search, and then let's use div search this web element object dot find element, and then by dot XPath. We can search it with XPath, and let's write the XPath. So what is our XPath? We will specify a dot, that means the current element. Okay, so after the current element and then a double slash, and then we can say input. Okay, so the search will be performed starting from the current element. Okay, and then using this, maybe we can perform some send keys, right? Text search dot send keys, let's say testing, right? And then the browser will be closed, so we have to see that this text is typed over there, right? So let us include a sleep, let's say thread dot sleep, and let's wait for 3 seconds, and obviously we have to add the exception, right? We have to handle the exception, set it to the method signature, and then let us execute it. Now the browser launched. See, it has typed found the element and it has typed testing over there. All right, so that worked. So what happens in this code if you don't specify the dot here? So in that case, the find element method will search for the input tag anywhere in the document, and we don't want that to happen, right? Because we want the search to happen from the div element, from here, right? Only within this hierarchy, within its children and grandchildren, the search has to be performed. So if you don't specify dot, it will search for the input tag anywhere in this HTML document. We don't want that to happen. If that happens, it will find the first web element, and that will be returned to text search, right? So we have to specify a dot over here. Now let's get rid of this dummy method. We do not want this anymore. We just typed it because we wanted to learn how the dot expression works in XPath. So let me get rid of this method. Now let's learn the purpose of double dots. It selects the parent of the currently selected node. Let's write an XPath with double dot. Okay, here let's look for an element / body. Okay, so here the body element is selected. Now let's look for its parent element. What is the parent element of body? It's HTML, right? Suppose you are not able to locate a particular element, but you are able to locate its child, one of its child, then in this case you can use double dots. Okay, so you have located the child element body, and now if you need to go to its parent, then add a slash and then write double dot. See, now it's locating its parent, that is HTML. Now let's learn about the symbol @. It selects elements with a particular attribute. Okay, let's try it out on our testing website. Let's search for an element with attribute ID. Okay, so let's start with / and then we have to add the symbol @ and then ID. Okay, so you can see that it has located 81 elements with attribute ID. Let's look for the first one. Okay, so this particular element has an ID attribute. See, there is an ID attribute. Okay, so it has located many elements, okay, with an attribute ID is present. See, there's an ID present for this one as well.